Sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Brutal.
Doesn't get much more gut-wrenching in the playoffs than that loss, does it?
Dude, that is
right to the ground.
That's a brutal way to lose an amazing, ugly but beautiful Game 5 in Memphis, and we're going to talk about anything and everything to do with this game. Should we this is a full-on vent line, right, Dex? We can invite people in.
Absolutely.
So if you want, we've got the Vikings vent line email address here. So if you want to be part of the show and you want to talk about what you saw in Game 5, email VikingsVentline@gmail.com. We'll come up with an actual, if the Wolves pull this series off, we'll come up with a Wolves vent line at gmail.com. How about that? But VikingsVentline@gmail.com. Ant buries the 3 in the corner. Signature shot for the second-year young superstar. But Ja Morant, man, the Wolves contained him for the last couple games, 2-3 games, and he figured it out in the fourth quarter. I'm not even Game 3, I was irate because it was Wolves shooting themselves in the foot. It was Wolves' petulant, immature behavior, just pissing away 25-point leads. I don't know where you guys are at. It's devastating to lose that game in that fashion, but I almost come out of it thinking, damn, they're throwing haymakers with the Grizzlies. And yes, they probably should either have closed the series out or be up right now, but I'm not even mad. I'm just, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think this is great experience, and I think the Wolves played their asses off tonight. And it's hard to look at one thing other than maybe that D'Lo shot with 15 seconds to go and say, that's the thing to be irate about. It was just a great game. Haymakers going back and forth, and Ja Morant came alive down the stretch. I don't know. What'd you make of it, Judd?
I thought that the Game 3 loss was a stupid loss. You're up by 26 in the first half. You're up by 25 in the second half. Cat between him not being able to shoot enough because of the game plan or how the game plan fell, and then him just collapsing. I think that's what made you irate about that game. However, in my opinion, what we saw tonight, while nothing like Game 3, is the maddening thing is we are seeing this team find ways to lose games. The Memphis Grizzlies, just for a point of reference in tonight's game, from 3-point range were 7 of 28. Okay, they couldn't make for a large portion of this game a free three-pointer to save their lives. On free throws, which Ja got hot at the end, but was absolutely horrific through 3 quarters at the line, they were 26 of 39. So I think Game 3 was just inexcusable. Tonight, I don't think is an inexcusable loss, but I think it's a maddening loss because this was the type of game where, one, you played well enough to win, and two, Memphis played poorly enough, even with the late game comeback, to lose. So I really think that it's a contrast in ways in games that you find a way to lose.
Yeah.
But it's still incredibly frustrating because I texted you both during the last quarter of this game, and I said, this is the type of game you have to win because the door is open for it. This would have been an incredibly impressive road win. Memphis was doing everything in their power to help you, and it felt like you spent most of the game after a horrific start too, taking advantage. So I don't feel the anger, and I don't think we're going to have the anger that we did from the Game 3 loss. I do think that this is an enormous missed opportunity because this game was there.
Yeah, I think it is a missed opportunity when you have a double-digit lead going into the fourth quarter, and they still had a double-digit lead, several minutes into the fourth quarter as well. And you're playing on the road. It's very rare to steal a Game 5 in a 2-2 series on the road like they were about to. I think my biggest takeaway, even with the loss, is that the Wolves are better than the Grizzlies. And it really just comes down to the Wolves not shooting themselves in the foot. Tonight, would they have 20 turnovers going into the fourth quarter? They wound up with 20-some turnovers.
Yep.
Just taking atrocious, panicked, rushed shots. Oftentimes, too, getting into a track meet during portions of this game with Memphis, which, listen, the Wolves can run and get up and down the court too, but Memphis loves to run. Memphis, listen to every huddle that they had Taylor Jenkins mic'd up, and it was get a stop, force the pace, get a stop, force the pace. And when you have a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, you don't need to be, they're grabbing these offensive rebounds and they're trying to chuck shots back up. It's like, guys, but you know what? I don't think game 3 was as much of a learning experience because, I don't need a 26-point blown lead to learn something in a basketball game, but this is going to sound so infuriating to some people that are irate over that loss tonight, but this is the type of loss that hardens you in the NBA playoffs, and I don't think the series is over yet. I think there's a decent chance the Wolves win Game 6 at home, and we've seen just how much they can fight and beat Memphis in Memphis, so I wouldn't write this series off quite yet. Also credit where credit's due, as atrocious as Karl Anthony Towns was in games 2 and 3, and Lord knows I blew a gasket on him after game 3. He was also atrocious in the Clippers playing game. He had a bunch of turnovers tonight, and he had a couple dumb moments, but he's been mostly magnificent in these last couple games. And some of the shots he was hitting, and I really, with 15 seconds left, when D'Lo took that weird fadeaway and just basically dribbled out, didn't even look teammates. I'd like to see Cat get a look there. Ant buried the 3 to tie the game. Let's get the ball to Cat in that situation. So he did, credit where credit's due before we get too far into the show. Cat was down the stretch. He was level-headed. He was reliable. He was knocking down some big shots. So I don't know. I kind of just chalk this up to it's a playoff loss that hardens you. Maybe you can use it still in this series. If not, at the very least, this is some incredible experience for a team that hasn't had a whole lot of it.
So Cat 5 of 7 tonight from 3-point range. Absolutely magnificent there. I think what's frustrating about it, though, is, yes, it could harden you for the long haul, but still, the Grizzlies were giving you opportunities, and you had a chance to break through. And the frustrating thing, I think, is a lot of this game, it felt like the Wolves were going to. Memphis, I would caution, so I know what you're saying, but I would caution saying that Memphis isn't as good or that the Wolves are better, because two things have become crystal clear in the 5 games that we've seen so far. One is what you said about Ja at the start of the series is 1,000% right. He's not a sexy player. He plays his ass off. He gets cold. He tries to drive, and you can definitely game plan at times, obviously not late in this game, to try and contain him. But the other thing is, I think Ja's style of play is reflective of the Grizzlies. And I think one reason why it seems like the Wolves are a more talented team is because the Grizzlies aren't really an aesthetically pleasing team to watch, if that makes sense. They work their ass off for everything they get. And when it's not going well, their style of basketball for a team that likes to run is really not attractive. But that doesn't make them not good. The one thing that surprised me tonight, though, from the Grizzlies through at least the first 3 quarters was the shot selection. And I really thought that with the way that Bane has played, they'd be trying to get him more looks. Now, I know that the Timberwolves tried to take that away as well. But, when Ja's shooting up threes, it's like, dude, a lot of those aren't going to fall. So I think the thing with the Grizzlies is they play a style of basketball that when it's not going well does not look competent. But where I give them credit is throughout the course of this entire series, they are always around. They're down by 13, but they're still there, right?
Yeah, they they keep coming at you, right? They're sort of they're the Terminator, or they're Rocky Balboa, right? They keep throwing punches, and that's the kind of player Ja is too, right? He's just he's going to get knocked on his ass 15 times in a game. He's going to flop too, but he's going to keep coming at you. And what I said before the series was guys like Ja, Russell Westbrook is kind of a similar type player where they're great regular season players. They're sort of diminutive guards that play with astronomical energy, right? They're Energizer Bunny type players. And in the regular season, on a Tuesday night, when a team's coming off a back-to-back, that energy is going to carry you to a lot of wins if you're just bringing more energy on a nightly basis than regular season opponents are. Well, in the playoffs, everyone's energy increases. Sometimes you get like, how many times have they had back-to-back off days already in this series, right? Like 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. And so, some of the things that make him a great player in the regular season, just he's not going to have that advantage if he can't shoot from outside. I'm not saying he's easy to defend, but I think you could sort of see it coming if the Wolves could come up with a strategy to just prevent him from getting to the paint at will, which they did for like 2.5 games there. I don't know where it went in the fourth. I'm sure somebody will do a film breakdown, but that dude decided, I'm going to get to the paint and the free throw line in the fourth quarter, and he did at will. And part of it might have been Pat Bev fouling out. Like, I'd love to see that last possession run back with Pat Beverly guarding, at least at the point of attack at the top of the key, Ja Morant. Does he blow by and get into the paint with that level of ease to hit that game-winning layup if Pat Beverly's in the game? But Pat Bev fouled out, and give Memphis credit. Should we got plenty more takes on this, but it looks like we have a full room here of Timberwolves fans. And so if you're just joining us here on the Score North YouTube channel, thank you. This is Mackie and Judd, a little special Timberwolves vent line recap of Game 5. What a freaking game, and a gut punch loss for the Timberwolves. If you could click the subscribe button on the YouTube channel and the like button on the video, you can help spread the word about Score North and Mackie and Judd and this community of Minnesota sports therapy that we're going to be tapping into tonight. So, Dex, who's first out of the gate here on Timberwolves Vent Line?
Yeah, let's go to AJ. AJ, what's up,
What's
man?
up, AJ?
What's up, guys? Oh, my God. I was ready to wave the title, Judd. I was ready for it.
Who wasn't? Who wasn't? It was like, I'm going to start. No, I'm not.
Man, Ant went off. I got to see, is Greg Popovich retiring after this season? Because if I'm the Wolves, I'm raiding his bench of assistants and just teaching these guys fundamentals. I looked at one stat, 23 assists for the Wolves tonight, 22 turnovers.
Yeah.
That's the game right there. And Finchy, I love him. He's turned the culture around, but he's got to be better at managing timeouts. And D'Lo, I might be looking for somebody else to run the point in the offseason, man. He's been nothing this whole series, really. Cat, I thought was aggressive, but, man, I'm so disappointed for Anthony Edwards, man. I'm a big Ant Edwards fan, and I thought this was his coming out party. But I'm telling you, man, both these teams are inexperienced, and I think Golden State is going to put whoever wins over their lap and spank them for 4 games in the next round. But
yeah,
just me.
Yeah, no, AJ, I think that, thanks for coming on, dude. Love the setup there, too.
See you
The
guys
lighting
Thursday,
is beautiful.
Man.
Awesome, dude. We'll see you at Surly.
Yeah,
awesome, man.
Great.
It'll be a blast, man. I think that's the thing. You watch this team. At one point, I was just making some notes during the game here. Going into the fourth quarter, the Timberwolves were getting out offensive rebounded 12-2. And they had 20 turnovers going into the fourth quarter. And they were up by 11. The things that this team does to shoot itself in the foot, and yet they're so talented, they take these massive leads, right? Is it salvageable going forward as they go through this learning process? Are they going to tighten some of this stuff up, and all of a sudden now they're going to lower the turnovers, they're going to lower some of the dumb mistakes, they're going to lower the bad shot rate late in games, late in halves, they're going to be a better closing team? Or are they just this sort of frenetic ball of energy, and this is what the identity of the team is for the next 2 or 3? It's going to be fun to watch, but they're just going to be spastic and make a lot of mistakes and have you pulling your hair out.
I'd say, to your point about a game like this potentially hardening a team and players, that's where I'm not concerned at all about Ant. I think Ant takes this experience and learns. D'Lo, I don't know what to make of him. His series, far too often, not every game and not every quarter, has underwhelmed me. And that shot late in the game, I hated. That was just a terrible shot. Ant missed some key shots, but he also came back and hit the tying shot. And the thing is, I think a guy like Ant will take this experience and benefit tenfold. That is a good side, because I think he's smart enough and he'll learn and progress. D'Lo, I don't know so much on that one.
If you're sort of ranking the Timberwolves roster, not based on talent or not based on, the pecking order of who should take the last shot, but if you're ranking the roster based on their level of self-awareness of who they are as a basketball player, I can go up and down. I would say that Karl Anthony Towns, even though he's immature and even though he can be petulant and things, like he knows who he is as a player. In fact, sometimes I think he underestimates who he is as a player in certain instances.
Yes.
Ant Edwards has a pretty high level of self-awareness. He'll take some heat check shots here and there, but he understands, they're doubling me now. It's time to go find the open guy. Even some of the role players like Jared Vanderbilt, he's not going to take 12 shots in a game because he knows who he is. Pat Beverly knows exactly the cracks he's supposed to be filling in. D'Angelo Russell gets the ball in his hands and thinks he's Kobe Bryant in his prime. And some nights he is. There are some nights where he is wildly talented and hot from the field, and he's knocking down clutch shots and hitting a three from the top of the key on a step back. But tonight, when they're down by they were down by a point with 15 seconds to go, and you've got red hot Karl Anthony Towns, you've got Anthony Edwards who can load a shot up and he can get separation from anywhere with that step back.
Yep.
And he's been mostly cold and irrelevant offensively throughout the night, D'Angelo Russell, and he decides, I'm going tunnel vision here with two defenders on me, and I'm going to take a wild fadeaway shot, and it's going to, bank off the other side of the backboard. That's like his level of self-awareness is very low compared to most of his teammates, and it bugs me.
And that ball, right now, that ball on a night like this has to go through Cat. Like eventually, probably Ant. Totally get that. But right now, like Cat was on a good night shooting. Confidence was high, right? Like everything screamed. He at least has to have the option of saying, I'm not going to shoot.
Yeah.
And yeah, D'Lo, there's just too many times where he does things that cause you to think he doesn't get it. And that's concerning. But yeah, look, you're correct in this. Game 3 drove me crazy. Like game 3 was inexcusable, awful meltdown, embarrassing. This was not that. It's tough to watch it because it's a game that they definitely should be coming back here for Friday's game up by a game. But that being said, it was not nearly as maddening to watch it unfold because it was not like they were up by a ton and completely gagged, which is exactly what they did in game 3.
Yeah, and I know they were up by 11 or 12 or whatever it was, but those... Even an 11-point lead on the road against a fast-paced team like the Grizzlies, that's not a very secure lead.
Right.
So, again, don't blow 11-point leads. I'm not trying to justify a blown lead, but this game felt much more like just a really tough playoff loss than Game 3 did. So, all right, who's next on the Timberwolves vet line, Declan?
Let's go to Mike. Mike, what's up, man? Welcome to
Hey,
Timberwolves vet
guys.
line.
You again.
What's up, Mike? How you doing, man?
Okay. Let me tell you what ticks me off about this team. And yes, it was a great game. By the way, that dunk by Ja, oh my goodness. I can't think of a player of his stature that can get up so high. Even on some of those rebounds where he's going up.
How about him trying to do the same dunk a minute into the fourth quarter, too? He got blocked, but oh my God.
I can't even do that when I'm dreaming. Okay, here is what ticks me off. Chris Finch was advertised as this offensive genius, right? When he came in, that he's got a great offensive mind. So what really bothers me is, especially, let's take the play at the end of the game. And you're right about D'Lo, the self-awareness. Okay, your shot's not going down. Maybe doing a contested two-pointer, very contested, is not the smartest idea, right? But as a coach, isn't that stuff that you work on in practice? Like you say, okay, guys, let's run some hypotheticals. I know they do that in football all the time. We run hypotheticals. Let's say we have a final shot and there's 25, 30 seconds left. Here is the set that we're going to run. I don't understand why, and not just Chris Finch, a lot of coaches do this, but they go one-on-one and they go hero ball. And what's so cool about Golden State, and yes, they do this too, but Clay and Steph, if you watch them play, they are constantly cutting and they are constantly getting open. Mm-hmm. They're getting shots in the flow of the offense. And I think what really bothers me is that the Wolves don't do that, but they have the skill players to be able to do that. And they have a point guard in D'Lo. When he's self-aware, he can get guys open. And so here's what I was thinking, especially in the fourth quarter. Whenever D'Lo got the ball, did you guys have this feeling of, oh my gosh, he might do something really great or he might do something really stupid?
I think I have that feeling pretty much every game when D'Lo has the ball, yes. Because that's the range, right? Like, that's the range for him. Yeah.
Well, and then I thought, when J-Mac is in the game, kind of like Tyus Jones, you just have this, okay, he's not spectacular, right? But you don't feel like he's going to make that game-losing decision of taking a fadeaway three that's highly contested. I trust him more to get the ball in the hands of someone in the flow of the offense that's going to get him a good shot. And I'm not saying he's better than D'Lo. I'm not saying that. I think skill-wise, D'Lo is more skilled. But I think in terms of smarts and awareness, I think I would have trusted J-Mac more in that spot. I don't know what you guys think on that. And then secondly, in terms of coaching too, if Towns is getting doubled so much, does anyone talk to him about, like, here's what we do on a double? Now, to be fair, he did much better today on the double teams. And Richard Jefferson in Game 4 kind of hounded that point.
Yes.
But he needs to be either coached up or self-aware that they're going to keep doubling him until he learns how to make them pay, whether that's through making the right pass or through learning how to move out of it. And the way not to handle the double team is through waiting around and looking for the perfect pass. You just got to get the ball moving or make your move right away.
Yeah, Mike, thank you. So let's unpack some of this. Thank you for coming on, Mike. So let's start with the Towns double teams. And this is, I don't know, I probably have to go back and watch how many times they doubled him and see, but it's my amateur observation. This is going to be, I'm going to go real X's and O's breakdown here on you guys. Okay.
Football.
So if you notice, when Towns, so usually, they'll dump the ball in, and sometimes it's at the 3-point line, and he's kind of, they'll dump it. He's kind of posting up, but like at the 3-point line. Maybe they'll get it in closer to the low block, but it's usually on the left side of the court or the right side, right? Mm-hmm. And he gets doubled pretty quickly. And what happens is he knows that he should be trying to get the ball over to the weak side, but he's not confident enough to just chuck a skip pass in those situations. And we're so spoiled. If you grew up in the Kevin Garnett era, you watch Kevin Garnett get the automatic double team, and he would hold the ball over his head and he would rifle. I'll never forget. I was sitting in my college dorm room watching a Kings Timberwolves game on ESPN one night in like early 2004. It was the season where the Timberwolves went to the Western Conference Finals. And KG, so as you're watching on the screen, I believe the Wolves were going from right to left. So on the left side of the court, as you're watching on TV, KG gets doubled on the low left block. Mm-hmm. But it was probably, 12, 15 feet away from the basket. So he wasn't like in the paint. He was 12, 15 feet away, sort of further up the baseline. Instant double team. He takes a deep breath. He surveys, where's the double coming from? And he sees, okay, the double actually came from the top of the key. I'm getting really wonky here. But he saw Fred Hoiberg in the opposite corner with a defender with his back to Kevin Garnett. And so he said, I'm out of this double team, I'm going to hold the ball in the air and rifle a cross-court skip pass because the defender's not looking. And I'm going to hit Fred Hoiberg right in the chest, and he's going to pop a three-pointer. And bang. It was a key shot at some point in the second half. I'll never forget. Wow. If you double Kevin Garnett, he is going to rifle a pass to an open three-point shooter, and you're going to be screwed. Cat doesn't quite have that. Now, it's not that he never makes the right pass. It's not that he always melts down those situations, but
right.
The Clippers did it. Memphis is doing it, and Cat still wound up with a great game, and they wound up drawing up three-point looks for him. But I would love to see a little bit more. Just let's create some more open shots out of those double teams. Those double teams are a blessing for you. They are literally, you are a great shooting team. They are taking a defender off of a shooter. Mm-hmm. So you need to get them in the spin cycle. And too many times they're slow to swing that ball around, or they're not able to make a skip pass cross court.
Or Cat will.
There you go.
Football.
8th grade basketball Phil Mackey right there.
Unfortunately for Cat, he will rifle the ball across court at times into the third row. I mean, he is certainly not a perfect player, but tonight I don't blame him. I mean, I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah.
And by the way, did the Twins just walk off the Tigers?
I don't know what happened, but they
Sano
walked
hit
off
the
the
ball
Tigers.
off the right fielder's glove, and 2 runs scored, and the Twins walked off.
So the Tigers dropped a fly ball or something?
It was a line drive. It was a little bit of a tough play, but the play should have been made. So.
Amazing. The other thing, real quick here, that was it Mike that Mike just brought up. So Jordan McLaughlin has been really, really good off the bench for the Timberwolves. Now the box score, you're gonna look at the box score and be like, oh, okay, he played 17 minutes, he scored 2 points, he had 4 assists, but the way that he gets into the offense, the way that he gets the ball moving around, right? The way that he defends sometimes too. Mm-hmm. I think what happens sometimes in the fourth quarter when D'Lo, usually it's D'Lo, but sometimes Pat Bev is guilty of this too before he fouled out. They take 18 seconds to get into their action in the half court. And now some of it's you're trying to run some clock because you have a lead, but they dribble up and they try to get a switch. So they'll do they'll either do like a pick and roll, or they'll do, if you'll notice in this series, they'll do kind of a pseudo pick and roll because Memphis is telling you we're going to switch anyways. So let's just switch. And it takes them 15 or 18 seconds to get into their action. Instead of spending that time getting into the action early, because Mike brought up the Warriors, for instance, get into the action early, get the ball moving around, get the Memphis Grizzlies into a spin cycle, and find an open shot somewhere. They're too worried about holding the ball at the top of the key, grinding some clock, and boom, now they're in panic mode, and somebody puts up a rushed shot. That was the entire fourth quarter offensively for the Timberwolves. And Chris Finch, to his credit as an offensive mind, helped diagram the highest scoring offensive team in the NBA this season. But playoff basketball is different. When you get into the fourth quarter grind, it's half court. It can't be hero ball, man. It can't just be step backs from Ant and D'Lo getting into the paint and taking contested shots. You got to move the ball around, and they just forget to do it sometimes.
What has happened to Malik Beasley? 3 of 8 tonight, 8 points. And I believe he did not take a shot in Game 4. Like, speaking of guys off the bench, especially who you like to be part of the rotation, and who supposedly can shoot threes. That's back-to-back games in which he was, 1, a non-factor, and tonight 2, a very small factor.
Yeah, he was, to his credit, he was a little bit handsy defensively and crashed the boards a little bit. He was much worse in the previous game, but yeah. I would like to see him find some happy medium between taking all of the shots and only taking 3 3-pointers in 2 games combined, right? So, all right, who's next on Timberwolves vent line, Declan?
Yo, Mike, do you got us? Mike.
Oh, again. Sorry, guys.
It's the same Mike.
Better find somebody else.
Okay, we just had Mike on. Let's go to somebody else.
Let's go to Trey. Trey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we got you.
Good.
First, I want to mention I will be on Write That Down next Wednesday. That's me on the 4th, so I'm excited for that.
Nice.
Got some doozies for you. However, this was a fun game. It was a fun game to watch. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I felt it was one of the most poorly officiated games I've seen in a while. It felt as though Ja, great. I love Ja. He's actually probably my favorite player that's not on the Wolves. But every time he drove, and it seems like he's done this a lot in this series, like every time he drives, he'll like fall over and then like look like he's hurt. And then once the foul's called, he pops right back up. Like, and it's just like, felt like it. That's how they came back, like the whole fourth quarter. Yeah, D'Lo played bad. Like D'Lo played terrible. Ant was missing some shots. Cat was on fire, but like it just felt as though like every time Ja went into the paint, they blew like a phantom whistle, and it was like, what is going on here? Like my wife was like, you need to calm down, because I was getting so pissed that like every time like he got into the paint, it felt like a whistle was being blown.
You know what we call that, boys? We call that $15,000 well spent by Taylor Jenkins ripping the officials after Game 4.
For sure. All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'll see you next week.
All right, Trey. Sounds good, dude. Hilarious. All right, let's keep rolling here.
I don't think there's ever going to be a game in the playoffs that people can have a consensus of that was a well officiated game.
Yeah.
I just don't think it exists. People are always pissed off.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. And these games are physical and they're fast paced and there's going to be questionable calls. Like most calls are sort of 50-50. You know, the Towns originally, it was his fourth offense. It was his fourth foul, the offensive foul, and he lowered the shoulders, and then they overturned it. I mean, that could go either way. I'm kind of shocked that got overturned, quite frankly, especially in Memphis. But I don't have as much of a problem with these officials as some other people do. I didn't. There were some calls that I wasn't in love with, but I don't think the officials in a close game, I don't think they drastically altered the outcome of it. You know, Jaren Jackson Jr. was all bent out of shape because he fouled out on the Karl Anthony Towns three-pointer. Like, dude, you slapped him on the forearm when he was following through on his three. It's clearly a foul.
Which was stupid.
Yes.
Like, that's a bad foul, too.
The level of complaining doesn't match the level of poor officiating. The officiating is not as bad as the complaining would lead you to believe.
Amen.
All right, who's next?
Let's go to Jake. Jake, what's up, man? You got us?
What's up, Jake?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Got you.
Cool. I'm going to be Mr. Positivity on Wolves vent line. I think tonight's game was such an important experience for our guys. I mean, I think we all know like how much potential this team has, and I think a game like tonight was just like, I don't know, like important for years to come. I mean, I hate to already be talking about next year, but I mean, this is this team's first playoff experience. I mean, this is Cat's second playoff experience. I mean, I just feel like, you know, tonight was just like a classic. You know, it's a playoff game. It's the playoffs. You know, you got to show up and you know, I think the bench was incredible, with a few exceptions, but you know, I think Taurean Prince and Naz Reid showed up when we needed them, and yeah, I don't know, just a this is experience for the future. I mean, I'm honestly so excited to see where this team can go, and I think, you know, we need, like, you know, even though it sucks to lose and in a game like that, I think that, you know, experiences like this are just going to be you know, fuel for the future, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think at this point, I'm trying to figure out what would make me, even if they lost the series, what would make me feel good going into the offseason. I think getting Game 6 at home, and then ideally you would win Game 7. But if you got Game 6 at home, made it a 7-game series, and then lost at Memphis in a hard-fought Game 7 or something, I would say that stings. But you know what? That's something you can hang your hat on going into the summer and going into next season.
I mean, you can, you know, learn from these games, you know. I mean, like, we haven't been there. I mean, this is Anthony Edwards' first. I mean, how many guys in this team is this their first playoffs? I mean,
I think Pat Beverly has a ton of experience, but
Cat's got the one round.
Nate Knight played a couple games for Atlanta. Taurean Prince, I don't think he's played in the playoffs, has he?
I mean,
he sneak into a game at one point.
You got to have games like tonight. It sucks. I mean, like I you know, I'm not going to dwell on. I mean, you know, it wasn't game 3, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you just got to learn from a game like tonight and look. If we're going back to Minnesota, and we've proved that we can win in Memphis. So I mean, it's just.
Yep, Jake, thanks for coming on, dude. Appreciate your positivity. And, yeah, I think, listen, the series ain't over yet. It is not over yet. Playing at home, that's going to be a ridiculous, raucous arena on Friday.
That'll be great, especially if it's a late start and the fans are liquored up.
I don't know. I know Game 3 was inexcusable, but the fact you're up 11, you had a chance to basically go up 3-2 with 2 games to play. I understand the valuable playoff moments here. To me, that's just like, it is such a kick in the beanbag, as Nate says on our YouTube channel here. Like, it is a definition of having a kick right below the belt. Like, they had this game won. It was going to be up 3-2 with 2 games to play. And yes, like, obviously the Wolves will learn from this, and Anthony Edwards is going to be even better as he matures into his mid-20s, but I don't like to look at 3 or 4 years from now, look at the Wolves can be like. They had this right here. They had the team that had the second most wins on the ropes, and you almost went up 3-2, and you kind of bleeped down your leg. So, to me, it is a kick in the beanbag.
That's fair. That's fair. I need to see Game 6. I need to see Game 6.
It's definitely a kick. The question is, how upset are you about it, and do you think that they will learn? Because here's the one thing that I will say. Coming into this playoff, Ja Morant had 5 career playoff games, same as Towns against Utah last year. So it's not like he's Mr. Seasoned playoff guy himself. So yeah, I don't think it's I'm personally not trying to give them a free pass, but Game 3 was so egregious. I just can't reach the same level of anger tonight. That was so bad. And Cat was awful. That was embarrassingly bad. This sounds stupid, but at least your star player tonight didn't embarrass you. That sounds really bad. That's really a Minnesota sports fan statement.
It's a low bar. Yeah, it's a low bar.
But to Dex's point, it's not like Ja Morant did what Ja Morant does in the playoffs. His experience is not off the charts himself. So yeah, it's frustrating. They should have won. I'm just always going to carry Game 3 as one of the worst meltdowns I've ever seen in a Minnesota sports playoff.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the problem.
You've, I think, encapsulated how I feel here too, which is I'm still not over Game 3. I'm making a concerted effort to just not listen. There was a couple chances to chirp Karl Anthony Towns on Twitter, and I did not tonight, and I think you guys should be proud of me. I am showing restraint. But Game 3 was so offensive. Right. This, to me, tonight was just a hard-fought playoff loss against a good team that woke up in the fourth quarter. You definitely brought some of it on yourself. Yeah. If Game 3 hadn't happened, let's say they just lose Game 3 in a more normal fashion, I would be more upset about this squandered opportunity tonight. But for whatever reason, Game 3 is the thing. If they lose this series in 6 or 7, Game 3 is the thing that I'm going to be the most mad about. ESPN Stats and Information just tweeted this out. The Grizzlies are now the first team in NBA history to have multiple wins in a single playoff series in which they trailed by double digits entering the fourth quarter. The 2020 Miami Heat are the only other team to even do it twice in a single postseason. So blowing fourth quarter leads of that magnitude twice in a series,
it's frustrating,
is historical.
And in that regard, Declan's not wrong. My bar, being as old as I am and watching the crap I've watched, my bar is so goofed up. It's so goofed up because literally, think about this franchise. Think about the things we've seen. With a chance to go to a Super Bowl, Brett Favre threw a ball into the middle of the field. I'm so scarred by episodes like that tonight is frustrating. But in 2 years, if you mention these playoffs in 2 years, I'm not going to recall this game. I'm going to recall Game 3, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, at no point did I expect them before the season to win a playoff series. At no point when they were matched up with Memphis in the playoff draw after the play-in win over the Clippers did I think they should be expected to beat Memphis in a 7-game series. Mm-hmm. To me, once they beat the Clippers at home. Now, I think getting out of the play-in, I expected them to do that. I wanted an actual playoff series at the beginning of the season. I wanted above 500, and I wanted an actual playoff series. And they checked both those boxes. And so now that we're in the middle of this, I don't know that it's fair to change the expectations and raise the bar, but I'm conflicted because I also think, having watched these two teams play now 4 times in the regular season and 5 times in the postseason, Memphis has 5 wins to the Wolves 4, but I think the Wolves are better. They just make more mistakes. And maybe because they make more mistakes, that means Memphis is actually better, because not making mistakes is a huge part of being a good team. Not soiling yourself when you have a 26-point lead and a 25-point lead is a huge part of being a great team. So maybe the correct way to phrase it is Minnesota, I think, has more talent. Minnesota is playing a freaking 10-man rotation tonight in Game 5 of a road playoff game. And it worked until
it didn't.
The last 3 minutes or so. So, yeah, it is hard to know where to put the bar here. In the middle of the series and the way that it's played out, they should be leading or have won the series by now. But if you zoom back out to 30,000 feet, this has all been pretty valuable. The regular season, beating the Clippers, I mean, this is all kind of gravy. So it's hard to know where exactly to set the bar. I agree with you there. Let's get to our next Wolves vent liner, Declan.
Let's go to Brett. Brett, what's up, man? Welcome to Wolves Vent Line.
What's up, boys? Hey,
What's
I don't
up,
know
Brett?
if you caught the end of the Twins show, but I think they made the worst defensive play tonight besides Ant. Did you see it?
The Tigers?
The Tigers?
No, yeah, they just yep.
Oh, yeah. Brutal.
Yeah, that was a train wreck.
It's
Yeah.
awful.
Anyways, so
Like
I'm
bad
with you,
nutrition.
Phil. I know anything's gravy from here on, but you can't overlook the collapse at the end. Cat just carelessly dribbling the ball off the guy's foot, D'Lo with the terrible shot, and then Ant just going for the steal instead of just bodying up Ja when you know all he wants to do is go to the rim and score. I think that's where I'm at. It's all
Yeah,
gravy
no, it's-
until you just do those plays at the end, you know?
It's fair. Yeah, there was Ant had another one where he grabbed an offensive rebound, and then and there was like a minute or 2 minutes left or something, and instead of just dribbling back out, he's in the trees. He tries to put a little 6-foot bunny shot up, and
Yep.
is that a high percentage shot with a guy's hand in your face there, or can you dribble back out and run 14 more seconds off the clock and get a better look, right? Stuff like that. There's probably 6 or 7 things like that down the stretch, and you named a couple of them too that were
Yep.
super frustrating. Yeah.
I know you think Game 3 is more heartbreaking, but I just think this one is. They had in the bag. They just made terrible mistakes at the end instead of just completely choking it and not even having a chance at the end, like Game 3.
You know,
Game
I feel
3
like Brett. Thanks for coming on, dude. Go ahead, Judd.
Game 3 is more maddening.
That's the thing.
My heart was
I
not
blew a
broken. I
gasket.
was pissed.
I blew a gasket after Game 3.
Yeah, you
And
did.
there's almost nothing that can happen on the negative side now that can live up to the way that I felt after Game 3. So if I
Heartbreaking.
seem more subdued, it's because I already exhausted all of my negative energy after Game 3.
Heartbreaking was the 98 Falcons game. That was heartbreaking. The Favre pass, 12 men in the huddle, Game 3, not heartbreaking. They pissed me off. They're inexcusable. Tonight, it's not good. It's frustrating. But my God, it's not heartbreaking. And it's not, and I'm not, I'm with you. I can't possibly get that worked up again about this. I can't. I'm sorry. Be disingenuous of me to do it.
Okay. Who's next on Timberwolves Vent Line, Dex?
Let's go to Cody. Cody, what's up, man? Welcome to Wolves Vent Line.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
man. What's up,
Gotcha.
Cody?
Yeah, I was just listening to you guys. I would agree. Great Game 3 and this game were so different because I was just watching this one and man, Ant hit that 3 and I was just like, there's no way he just made that, especially after those last possessions, which, like you guys said, terrible shot selection. Like the last 5 or 6 possessions, I don't get what it is, and I've seen it across the league this playoffs specifically. It comes down to the last 4 or 5 minutes in a game, and it just turns into a one-on-one show, a pickup basketball game. What happens to all the offense? It's like, why would you not run an offense? You know?
Yeah, and some of that's on D'Lo, man.
Yeah, I would put it on all of them. I mean, they just all took terrible shots, but honestly, I'd say the only positive compared to, I'd say the rest of the series is, honestly, going into the fourth, I had that little feeling because we were only up by 11, and that has clearly meant nothing this whole season. And I had this feeling, I was like, if we don't start this quarter off good, it's going to go to shit like it has.
Yeah.
And sure enough, but the only thing that was good was just we had a few good plays in there. There was a good cat pass to Vanderbilt who was wide open, and I don't know, it was slightly better, but definitely not as bad as Game 3. And I just wanted to go up to Cat myself and say, dude, you're literally 7 feet tall. You can shoot the 3, and you're crying about every single call and sticking your foot out. It was just insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's Cody, I think great stuff, man. Thanks for coming on. I think I've been going back and forth because there's so many people after the last couple of games. Are you going to apologize to Cat? No, dude. His behavior in games 2 and 3 and the way that he took himself out of those games if they lose the series in either 6 or 7. You're going to point, all right, where were the real missed opportunities? Yeah, tonight was one of them, but you're going to point to game 3 in particular, and you're going to say, boy, if your star player didn't just have an inexplicable temper tantrum for 2.5 hours, then
Soiled himself.
You probably would be in a better spot right now. So that criticism is 100% warranted, just like the praise that he's getting for the last 2 games is also 100% warranted.
The 2 things I'd like to see from this team on Friday is this. Number 1 with Cat. He did it again tonight too. If they don't call a foul, get up and go down the floor and do your job. Now, if you want to, when there's a timeout and all eyes aren't on the official, if you want to ask a question occasionally, I think that's fine. But you could hear him on one of the mics tonight. He got hit, went down. That's a foul. And it's like, dude, just get up. No, that's not. First of all, that's not going to get you a call. Second of all, every time that you do that, Carl, you are running the risk of taking yourself mentally out of the game. The other thing that I would like to see, and I know it's a style, the amount of embellishment from Pat Bev, I would like to see toned down. Part of the reason why he didn't get that Ja call, where it could have been called, is he literally threw himself out of bounds with the ball to try and establish that I got, and they didn't call it.
That was a bad call.
It was, but I'm saying he's costing himself. He's basically an old school hockey player diving. And eventually officials say, I'm not going to make every call. He's throwing himself around every time that there's a slightly controversial call, like a maybe 50-50 call. We get the review it sign. Just tone that crap down a little bit, man. And quit trying to embellish unless you really have something to sell.
See, a couple things. That was a bad no call. I think Pat Bev had 2 options in that situation. One, because he's falling out of bounds himself too. So he can turn around and blindly throw that ball back in, and it probably gets picked off by Ja Morant, and now there's a fast break going the other way. So option 1, unless he can pinpoint one of his own guys on the fly and turn around, option 1's tough. Option 2 is I got shoved out of bounds. I'm going to sell it and try and get us possession. So I had no problem with that one. And I think it's hard for you to ask Pat Bev. It's hard for you to say, I only want pieces of Pat Bev. The Pat Bev experience is the experience. And, 10 to 15% of it is going to be filled with technical fouls. And, he had a delay of game at one point because he threw the ball up in the air and it got hung up on the back of the back. Like there's like 10 or 15% of Pat Bev's antics that are just going to be, when he shoves Chris Paul at the end of that series last year between the Clippers and the Suns. Mm-hmm. But I think overall he is a plus net value player for the team. And I don't think you can really – it'd be nice if you could pick and choose. Let me take the worst parts of Pat Bev and put them over here and keep the best parts. But I don't think that's how it works.
He's trying to sell so much, though, that he, I believe, at times costs himself calls. So I'm just saying dial back the theatrics just a little bit.
He's been in the league for a decade. This is who he is.
You know what, though? Can always learn. Can always learn.
All right, who's next on Mackie and Judd, Timberwolves vent line?
Let's go a couple more here. Let's go to Thomas. Thomas, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's up, Thomas?
I like the background, Thomas.
Thanks. Big Minnesota sports guys here. But,
nice.
This game was frustrating more so because they kind of actually felt like in a lot of control for majority of this game. They seem to keep getting that lead back. Even, it didn't seem like a Game 3 collapse where it's like, okay, you blew it in the first half. You're probably going to blow it in the second half. But, I knew the officiating was going to come into play for this game after Jenkins' comments from last game. And it definitely showed a little bit towards the later in the game, that Beverly call at the end when he got pushed out of bounds with Morant. Then Clark put it right up after. It was frustrating because, Wolves lose by 2 points. That plays a really big factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just done with D'Lo. I mean, I just don't feel like he's criticized enough for as much as he makes. He's a former number 2 overall pick. You traded a lot for him, and why I do not trust him whatsoever with the ball in his hand. I only trust Edwards. Only Edwards. I understand the Cat blame. I've actually been pretty proud of Cat since the Game 3, He's showing up, but it's just every time D'Lo makes a pass, it just looks lazy. It's stolen away, and it's just frustrating because it's like he has the potential to be that player, like that, like that 1A, 1B type guy, and it just seems like he never is. He just shows up every once in a while, and it's just extremely frustrating.
How do you spend a year with the Warriors and everything that they have, from coaching to just the player development, and still do some of the ridiculous things that he does late in games? Just no ball movement, fade away with two hands in your face at the end of this game tonight. And it's just like, did you pick up nothing with one of the best ball movement teams in the NBA? I mean, there's some nights where you're looking at him and saying, wow, it's a good thing they have D'Lo, or because there's nights where he's the calming guy, right? And he's the guy that's knocking down, 11 of 18 shots. So I don't know, man. Tom, thanks for coming on, dude.
No problem.
Loving your background. Let's get to one more here on Timberwolves Vent Line, Dex.
Let's go to Mackey's guy, Colin Yacht-Rock.
Colin, what's up, dude? What's up,
How
buddy?
are you guys, man? Appreciate you coming on again. This has been cathartic. And I appreciate Judd bringing up Viking stuff. It just adds the cherry to the crap Sunday. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
A couple things. I'll get to my point, but I think what hurts the most is that you had this opportunity. You had a Minnesota sports team go on the road, 6-point underdogs, and actually kind of punch Memphis in the mouth after taking a huge hit in the face in the beginning. It was 19-3 or whatever it was in the beginning. We clawed back into it, and you're like, to that last caller's point, we had the momentum the rest of that game. And to have an opportunity to be able to go home for a closeout game in the playoffs, I mean, we would be talking about this the next couple of days, how crazy Target Center is going to be, and maybe even thinking about Golden State or whomever it's going to be. Anyway, my real point for calling is basketball always comes down to fundamentals. Boxing your man out killed us tonight. Clark I think he had a majority of their offensive rebounds. I have it written down 29-6 in second chance points, you guys.
Clark had 9 offensive rebounds tonight off the bench.
And
9.
You saw it happen over and over again where they were getting these second chances. And I on that point around fundamentals, running an offense, Jordan Mack, when he's in there, the ball is moving because that's who he is. He is a true point guard. His job, like Tyus, is I'm going to spin the ball around and find the open guy. His bounce pass to the corner was beyond amazing. He gets the ball moving. But D'Lo has it. It's just stagnant. We all stand around and watch. And I'll just leave it on this, Mackie, at the end there with Ant. Why didn't Ant steal away?
Wow.
Come on, man. All right, guys.
Well, the good news, Colin, is even though this is kind of a depressing game, in 8 months it will be Honda Days. Happy Honda Days to you and yours.
Yeah, get yourself a low-interest rate on a Honda. It's the best time of the year, folks.
All right, see you, Colin.
Thanks, Colin.
Yeah, dude, 9 offensive rebounds for Clark tonight in that game. He winds up with 15 rebounds overall, and Memphis is the best rebounding team in the NBA and the best offensive rebounding team. And they had an 18-6 advantage on the offensive glass, and then the Wolves had 6 more turnovers. So when the Wolves won the math game as they need to from the 3-point line by a mile tonight. Free throws were fairly even, but when you commit 6 more turnovers and give up 12 additional offensive rebounds, that is 18 additional potential possessions or chances to score for Memphis. And that's how you piss away your 3-point advantage.
And the Grizzlies play a very effective, ugly game. But I mean, for 3 quarters, their free throw shooting was awful. It was terrible. 3-point was worse. So that's the thing. That's my point. Is they opened the door for the majority of this game to give the Wolves a chance to win it, to take it by the throat. And I guess that's the one comparison that you could probably make between tonight and game 3, is that in both cases, the Wolves had the game, and basically the Grizzlies were saying, all right, we might be done here. And the Wolves were like, are you sure you're done?
Yeah.
That's the frustrating thing.
Yep. By the way, thanks to our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company for helping keep the lights on at Score North. I'm Mackie and Judd. If you are a business owner and you're looking to take your business to the next level, they specialize in risk management tools and resources, and they have over 100 years of experience helping business owners. Federated Mutual Insurance Company, federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. 2 things I think we need to see in Game 6, okay? We need a protest. Okay, the Wolves are 3-0 in protest games. I don't care if it's chickens. I don't care what it is. We need someone to run on the court, get tackled by a security guard, try to glue themselves to the floor.
Just glue yourself to the floor. That's fine.
Whatever. Glue sticks. Just duct tape.
Yep.
Someone's got to take one for the team.
Yep.
And then the other thing is, I think A-Rod's got to ditch the suit and tie, man. I don't know what he was doing there tonight.
What is that?
That's A-Rod.
What are we doing?
That's A-Rod.
No, it's not.
What are we doing?
He never wears suits and ties. He wears sweaters.
But that story
he wears
about
sweaters.
The story way back when he was being recruited by the Yankees and showed up at somebody's hotel room door at like 3 a.m. in a full suit, and they said this guy's the most uncomfortable, weird guy. That's the first thing that I thought of when Laurie decked out for a basketball game, right?
He just wears a t-shirt and
which
sneakers.
is awesome.
Guy looks like a dude.
Yes.
I don't know what A-Rod was doing. A-Rod tried to
yeah.
class it up tonight. It didn't bring good vibes.
Not necessary, A-Rod.
A-Rod should wear a full Yankees uniform for the next game.
God.
Just wear a full baseball uniform.
That'd be amazing.
Cleats and everything.
God,
Those two should pay a protester. Very quietly pay a protester.
Dex, we're gonna need you to.
If
no one has run on the court by early in the fourth quarter, we're gonna need you to.
All right. Well, then I will need more than a
team.
suit. I'll need like a full-on bodysuit to absorb the inevitable tackle that's gonna break like all my fragile.
We'll get you like
bones
a
in my
Warren
body.
Moon flak jacket, or
I'll need-
a Drew Brees.
I think Ja wears one.
I'll need the Kirk Cousins like full-on pads that he wears. Like I'll need all of those.
Well, Ja has
Ja
has it's like Under Armour with some pads on the ribs. Dex might need the actual flak jacket though, the Kevlar. I'm worried for Dex's ribs. If that security guard. Sumo suit could work. Yeah.
I believe the goal of the protesters, if I am not mistaken, too, is to get Glenn to have to expedite his sale of the team. So
Oh well, then
if we had another
Mackie and I will be
protester,
hand in hand doing it if that's the case.
and he decided, you know what, that I'm done with this. I'm just going to sell it right now. Let's just say Mackie, Declan, Mark, and Alex would all benefit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just no suits and ties. Okay. Not even at the sign table.
I agree with you.
Yep. So, all right. Well, game 6, Friday night. Let's get it. So this is a big week for us. So we're going to be Purple Daily live at Surly Brewing Company on Thursday night for night 1 of the NFL draft. We're going to be hanging out with listeners and cheersing some Before I Die football ale around. I don't know. We're going to get there a couple hours early. So 3:34, 4:30. And then Friday night, we haven't figured out how or what the timing is, but we're going to be covering the second night of the draft and Game 6 of Timberwolves Memphis. So,
What's the tip time? Do we know yet?
have they announced it yet? Let's see.
No.
Here. I think we need the Suns Pelicans game to play out tonight.
Okay.
They have not.
So probably in the morning we will know what time they're going to.
Yeah, because I think I know if the Suns. Well, no, it's that game's going Game 6. That series is going 6 games. It's tied at 2.
Yeah, I believe Doogie told us today on the Scoop session that I believe it's a standalone game, regardless.
Okay,
so it could mean a 7:00 tip.
It's going to be so. The other games that night are okay. So we might have to wait till tomorrow night because Bucks and Bulls is an if necessary game. And don't they play tomorrow? And then Warriors Nuggets, don't they also play tomorrow? So those could end. I don't know. We might have to wait till tomorrow night, boys.
Don't know who we are. We need answers.
We need to know. We need to know.
Adam Silver, we need answers right now.
If you guys are still hanging out here, if you could click the subscribe button and the like button, it'll help spread the word about these therapy sessions. And thank you for hanging out with us, digesting a brutal end of game situation for the Timberwolves. But we got you covered. We are your official Minnesota sports therapists here on Mackie and Judd and Score North. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys.